The Ravens managed to play and beat the Cowboys. They roughed them up. They ran for nearly 300 yards, and the audience got to watch a relatively entertaining game. But you can't help but watch the Cowboys, and I know we overrate the Cowboys. Everything about the Cowboys is overrated. And you have a defense that there are guys who got paid on that defense. I can give a hall pass to the offense with Dak Prescott out and the offensive line has had injuries. Okay, you still have some weapons on the offense. You still have Zeke Elliott that everybody keeps telling me, yep, they made a smart move in re-signing him. All right. But the defense, that's where I would have heads rolling. I just want accountability. If I'm Jerry Jones, I just want accountability. Just who's responsible? And I would be making moves here because I got to get somebody's attention here. You're the Cowboys, and you're playing like you're the Jaguars. In fact, Jacksonville's more competitive probably week in and week out than the Cowboys are. Got a lot of guys who got paid, and you'd never know it when you watch that team. Yes, McLevin?
After the game and the post game, the Fox guys started diving into that topic about whether the Cowboys would take another quarterback at 4.
Yeah.
Even though they all love Dak Prescott, they think he's great. But do you need like a fresh start there anyway? If you're at 4, what do you do?
You have to be absolutely positively sure of drafting a quarterback that they can play for you right away because Dallas is built to win right now. Spend all this money, they're built to win right now. This isn't one of those, hey, we got a 2 or 3 year period here, because they don't. They could have signed Dak 18, 19 months ago. They screwed that up, and now here they are, a bad football team, and just the thought that they would be thinking about a quarterback. If you said I could have, Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, then I would certainly reconsider what my game plan was going to be moving forward. Because then I get the rookie contract at that position, and then I can afford to bring in a couple more players that might actually be worthy of a contract. But other than that, I think Jerry Jones knows he's stuck with these salaries and reputations, and bring Dak back and see what you have. Yes, McLevin.
One analogy I was thinking about, Drew Brees hurt his shoulder, and they drafted Phillip Rivers at 4 and kept Brees around. Is there any reason to pay Dak $40 million and still draft a quarterback just to make sure he gets back to where he was, or is that a waste of resources?
Before I get ready to pay him $40 million, I'm going to know if he can play. And if he can play, I don't want to waste a draft pick up there. Like, you have other needs. And if your offensive line is not going to be what it once was, then I got to make a move. I can trade out of 4 and probably have somebody go up who wants to get one of these quarterbacks, and then maybe I can start to reload, not rebuild, but reload the offensive line. But I just have question marks about what kind of effort does that Dallas team put forward. I mean, they've given up 290 yards twice this year in a game. Last night and the Cleveland Browns. They'd done that one other time in franchise history. Mike Nolan's defense is not working. Mike McCarthy is not the right guy for that position. But I don't think Jerry is going to make any changes with Mike McCarthy, and he would be one and done. We wondered why he was brought in the first place. As I said when they brought him in, it's not like he's Lombardi you're bringing him in. I mean, they could have stayed with Jason Garrett and gotten this performance. But you brought in Mike McCarthy, and you're like, yes, we got Mike McCarthy. Was anybody else bidding for Mike McCarthy? And if I'm Jerry Jones, you know what I do? I surprise everybody. And I say, I want to bring in Eric Bieniemy as my head coach. I'm going to take him off everybody else's list because it feels like there are 3 or 4, maybe 5 teams that would bring in Eric Bieniemy. How about I go get him, and I have him as my head coach here with Dallas? I know it'll never happen, but you got to get something. You're stagnant. You're boring. You're irrelevant. Those are things you would never, those words you don't attach to the Dallas Cowboys, but that's what they are. Yeah, McLevin.
I can think of a rah-rah coach who might be available. He wears khakis.
Jim Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh, Dallas?
Well,
I've never seen it written at all, by the way.
No. But I saw a report where 5 teams are interested in Jim Harbaugh if he decides he goes to the NFL. I don't know if one of those teams would be down. Would the Detroit Lions be interested in Jim Harbaugh? I mean, that would be the ultimate. Hey, he's not going to coach at Michigan, but he's staying in the state. He's going to be the Detroit Lions head coach. Yes, Paul.
Going back to the draft order right now after last night's game is Jets number 1, Jacksonville 2, Cincinnati 3. They don't need a quarterback. Dallas right now is in the 4th spot for the NFL draft. Then the Chargers, and then the Philadelphia Eagles in the 6th spot. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I think the Eagles got to decide what they have on their own roster right now. But if you said, well, these teams can trade out of this. Cincinnati doesn't need it. Jacksonville does, and the Jets do. And then you get to Dallas. If I'm Dallas, I can use this to my advantage being really bad, get out of there, and then still be able to stockpile a little bit. The Chargers don't need a quarterback. Philadelphia's got to decide if they have a legitimate starting quarterback there. Carolina looks like they would be in the market for a quarterback. What's Atlanta do with Matt Ryan? Houston doesn't need a quarterback. Although that pick goes to Miami. Denver, I don't know what Denver's doing. Washington, they would be in the market for a quarterback. Detroit, Chicago, even San Francisco's in there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are going to be interested in a quarterback. But, with Dallas, they need other things. Here's Mike McCarthy on what the Cowboys didn't do enough of last night.
300 yards is obviously astronomical. We have to get a quick turnaround. Just when you feel like you're taking some steps as a team, the keys to the game was stopping a run, and we definitely didn't get that done tonight.
Don't I hear this every game? It feels like. All right. Here is John Harbaugh, the Ravens head coach, on his star quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
One thing you do know about Lamar, you're going to get everything he's got, and that's really all you can ask for. He's going to give you whatever he has, and it turned out that he had a lot tonight, and that was good to see. I don't think you could predict that. He came out to practice. He looked good in practice. He was strong and healthy. I'm just impressed with the fact that he was on top of the game plan so well. He'd been studying, obviously, the whole time he's away, and he played a great football game.
Yeah, he did. But it helps if you have a Dallas defense that is clueless, because when I can play the role of amateur Tony Romo watching the game and going, oh, Lamar's going to run. Third down, Lamar's going to run. If I know, I would think that the Dallas defense would know as well. I'm going to let Lamar Jackson, if Lamar Jackson beats me with his arm, okay. But I'm not going to let him beat me with his legs, where he's far more valuable. Yes, Steve.
I'm just impressed he knew the game plan so well.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
What is that? Is that kind of what you expect from your quarterback? Like, hey, how about him? He knew what we were doing this week. Huh? That was impressive. What? That didn't sound like much of a compliment to me.
Jerry Jones on Tuesday morning did his weekly interview on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, and had some things to say. He talked about how Washington and the Giants are playing well and what that means to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys.
I think it's an encouraging sign, Mike, to see these teams, these new coaches, these new staffs, these new, if you will, directions that they're going, and see them playing some better football as we saw the last 2 or 3 days.
I'm not interested in Jerry Jones necessarily Tuesday morning. I'm really interested in Jerry Jones on Wednesday morning. That's when I want to hear from Jerry Jones. Here's Jerry talking about Dak Prescott moving forward with his running skills.
I've always handicapped, to some degree, Dak because of the fact that he's so effective and has been in his career in the running game, and his ability to take it down and get the big play and get the yards. I've always known that he couldn't do that like that for long in the NFL.
All right. Thank you, Jerry.